Let's call this meeting to order. Please rise to the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Caucus.
Here.
Mrs. Passio. Here. Mr. Ranieri.
Here.
Mr. Robinson.
Here.
Mr. Farrell.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly. Here. Mr. Shapiro.
Here.
And, I'm sorry, your name?
Mr. Long?
Oh, Christopher Long. Sorry.
Same.
Mr. Long.
Same one, yeah, here.
And Mr. Basor.
Here.
And Mr. Straley. Here.
All right, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act is given by the clerk in the following manner. 1, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 6, 2021. And 2, emailed to the retrospective and courier post on January 6, 2021. First order of business is Resolution 21-143. It's a resolution rescinding Resolution 2190, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Lori Farina, a retired police officer. I apologize for walking this on tonight, but I was doing some housekeeping today, and we noticed that Mrs. Farina hadn't signed her agreement. She has been making her obligated payments for her health benefit, but we were under the impression, this council, myself, was under the impression that she wanted to go into agreement with us so that she could take a full-time job. That was not accurate. So she did not take a full-time job. She's still subject to her original contract that she retired under. So what I need from the council tonight is basically the resolution to rescind it. She has not signed the contract. I had already previously signed it, but since she is not willing to sign it, we need to rescind it, and basically the terms of her retirement are the same. Okay?
Yeah, it's just going to cost us more money, right?
Not necessarily. You know, basically the difference was she was going to eventually come off our policy, but it would have benefited her too, so she could have gotten a full-time job. It's what it was. She's entitled to her health benefit.
But now she's not coming off.
She's not coming off. She's
So
staying.
now we got to pay her benefit.
Well, we were going to pay anyway until she was 65,
Oh, okay.
but now we'll pay until,
Oh, I see.
okay?
Oh, I see.
But she's still, what I did make it clear to her is she's still eligible for this in the future. One of her concerns was once she turned 65, would she be able to get similar coverage? Is Medicare going to give her the same thing that she was getting? So I said, look, you can always come back to the next council and see if it's something that benefits her. If she wants to be employed, that's the big issue. Remember, we limit those who retired under the contract, the previous contract. They were not allowed to basically earn more than $25,000 a year when they retired. And that was the design so that we would not be paying for someone who went and got another job. But we've slowly gotten rid of all that. There's only a few people.
So we got excited about this, now we have to get excited, right?
Yeah, no, not anymore.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Ranieri,
I'll second that motion.
second by Ms. Passio. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Kelly. Yes. Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Mrs. Passio. Yes. Mr. Lobenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Shapiro.
Yes.
And Mr. Ranieri.
Yes.
All right, so that's resolved. A new business for tonight is a thank you note from the Vanilla family. I apologize I wasn't there, but I know that it was excellent, and I know you guys did a great job, and I know she was appreciative. I actually talked to her today. She called me today, and it's always good to hear from her. But, you know, I think we did a nice job. I think it's important that we did those kind of activities. I think
That was a great day. You were there in spirit.
The audit was accomplished, and we did have a exit audit conference. The audit, as in most years, is always very good. Australia did a nice job. I wasn't able to attack the auditor like I normally do because we were on a Zoom meeting. But did you want to add anything to the audit? I mean, it was benign. Okay. So we do have to sign it, I believe. All the members of council have to sign. So after the meeting, if everyone could stay around, if we have that letter. Well,
I don't have, we're not going to do it until November.
oh, you want to wait till November? Okay, so after the November meeting, we're all obligated to sign it. Okay, we have the promotion and hire of a public works employee. I believe this is a full-time employee, correct?
We're promoting one of the part-timers to full-time to replace Zach Combs, who departed back in April. And we have a temporary employee that started yesterday.
Okay, so we'll just do that in November, and then we'll just put the date as whenever they start. We'll just put the date of hire on there. Discussion of bus shelters. Has everyone seen that? There was a contract that was sent. I think Mr. Long's brother, Mr. Long, reviewed it and said that the agreement with the New Jersey Transit was good. Does anybody know, was it 2 or 3?
Two.
It was 2.
It was 3, and one was the Acme, and they turned it down.
Okay, so if anyone, to remind everybody, basically the New Jersey Transit will be installing these bus stops for us, right?
Yes, we have to pick which ones we like.
Well, the committee, maybe a few members get together and just take a quick look. Hopefully something, because I believe we're responsible for them after they're off, right? So hopefully we, I think they're all the place, I saw it.
Yes, some are black and some are green. I was telling Patty if we're going to stay with the
I
green.
like the green,
For
yeah.
as far
Yeah,
as
just
as
work
far
it.
as-
That was good.
Yeah.
We should be on, you should be on that committee.
Yeah, I mean, just a review to make sure it looks okay. We can bring it back to if you want to do it before November's meeting. So maybe at November's meeting, we just do a quick little, make sure everybody's happy. Everybody's on the same
We
page.
have to pass a resolution.
So we'll pass a resolution for that. Okay, so we have the resolution for the hires, the resolution for the bus shelters. Okay, turning out of premiums to the borough. So when tax sales happen, we get a premium for those people who pay the taxes. I'm under the impression we're giving some money back.
Well, we're doing 2 things. We had 2 foreclosures. And when a lien is foreclosed on, that means it will not be redeemed. And the law says that any premium not redeemed, any lien not redeemed in 5 years, you can get the borough gets, my favorite word is cheap. It's cheats to the borough.
How much?
One is 27,700, and the other is 1,000. Now, lately, we had this problem, that brings me to the other one. We had 2 premiums that I turned over in a resolution back in 2020, and I guess at the time, the money was never turned over to the general fund. But the resolution still exists. So Shelley recommended that we rescind this resolution.
Because we gave the money back,
Well, we had to give.
they
what
sued or they
happened
went
was
to the court.
There's some odd things going on with the lien owners. In other words, they foreclosed, and the premium would have come to us, which we did the resolution.
Which was how much?
I don't know, we have a bunch of, 29, one was 90,000, one was 90,000, and one was 29,600. But they pulled some kind of shenanigans and ended up having the foreclosure rescinded and having somebody redeem the liens, which then entitles them to get the premium. So, but the CFO this time never turned the money over, correct?
We held it in escrow.
Well, we're still sitting in the TTL account, didn't go to.
So it didn't hurt us giving
It
it back.
didn't, no, but Shelley's recommendation is that we rescind this.
Okay.
So that's
So it's as of now, it's in our minutes that we are holding that.
Correct.
And we're not
And actually-
We're not holding the money anymore.
correct.
Okay. Was there anything else on that with the premiums?
Nope,
No. The tax sale went through, correct? That went well?
everything's sold, yep.
Okay. Turning over premiums, rescinding premium turnover to the borough, so everyone understands that they're basically getting their money back, their money back that they put up. We do have a letter of retirement. For those who don't know, our construction official and our fire subcode official, our zoning officer, his last day will be December 31st. So the borough will be actively looking to replace those 3 positions. So we'll formally accept that at the November meeting. Discussion of transfers and appropriations. Ms. Straley, did you want to just explain it all, or just make it this simple?
I'll get to it with my,
Oh, you want to do that?
with my report
Oh,
probably.
okay.
But we're just, year-end stuff, budget lines, just transfer money as we need to do to close out the year in a proper manner.
Okay, that's all good.
Right?
Anything specific or nothing, anything bad?
We're still evaluating the specific lines.
Okay. All right, discussion of ARA spending ordinance. As everyone knows, the borough is a receipt of its first payment of this American Relief Act, or also it's called ARP, isn't it? ARP also? ARP. So we got 440,000, 430,000, something in that amount. That amount of money is sitting basically in our checking account, and what Shelley would like to do is pass an ordinance that identifies broad areas where we intend to spend the money. So the money has to be spent in specific areas. So to give an example, in this ordinance that's proposed, which everyone should be getting a copy of it tonight, things like stormwater repairs, sewer repairs, money for small business grants, that kind of stuff. Some of the lighting for the...
Explain the grants to me, talk about facade enhancement grants, things like that?
Well, because of the applicant, because of the program, the name is gonna have to just change slightly to small business, what's the name?
It's gonna be small business assistance, but what we're gonna do is we actually are gonna have to pull that in as a chapter 159, and we're gonna do economic assistance. Because that-
Well, it's focused on what I'm talking about.
It's focused on what you're talking about, but the language we're using is,
Okay.
doing it as an assistance to the businesses.
Understood.
So the previous program that we had, we can use that as the foundation.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do is we're gonna say, well, this is the borough's,
But it's not broader than the facade.
it's not what?
It's not broader than that.
No, it could be, but I think we already have our own criteria that we've talked about through our redevelopment. So all this does is allow us to do, because the auditors, we did get them on the phone for a few minutes. They're very skeptical of anything that gets done with this money because the guidelines are so vague. But the general consensus is, so this 440, just to give you some quick round numbers, if $100,000, which is just a round number, is put in this small business assistance, if a couple $100,000 is for stormwater and sewer, if $100,000 is for microphones and video and things like that, these are all things that we could purchase that meet those criteria. The fear is, a year goes by, when we go to fill out the paperwork, they change the rules. But the amount of money isn't such a is that yours?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't lose it.
Well, that's one of the reasons we want to replace the microphones.
Nick, this is just
Yeah,
half the money.
This is half the money.
And we come to my attention that we get like a 5-year period to spend that money.
I'm not positive about, is that correct, Charlie?
Say that again, I'm sorry. 5-year period.
Is there 5 years?
We have 5 years to allocate the funds, 6 years to spend.
Okay. So, once again, the thought process that I would say from my own personal experience with the PPP was, businesses that got that money, spent the money, did it, were much less likely to, the rules became more as the time went on. So I would argue, if we have projects that we want to do, let's get them done. Let's do it, let's spend the money, let's be done with it. Why wait 5 years, why wait 6 years? We already had stuff that we'd already talked about. We already talked about collapsing sewer lines and stormwater lines, collecting manholes, the issue with the lights for the wreck, the microphones, helping out our businesses. So we already had a template. This is just really giving us money to do everything we were going to do anyway. So the question we'll have for next year when we're doing the budget is, since we're going to have this money to pay for some of the stuff, what do we do with the money we typically borrow? Do we do things that we normally wouldn't do? Do we take a year off and not borrow as much money since the state has given us?
I would say, yeah, let's take a break with the spending.
Well, I don't disagree, but at the same
Tomorrow.
time, every time we have a meeting, everybody comes up with 50 things to do.
Well,
So,
Nick, my question would be, what projects, the certain criteria we have to meet? Is mayor and council the final decision, or is Shelley the expert here?
so, look at her face. So, once again, if you want to read about the ARP funding, it's very broad strokes. It's in infrastructure. And infrastructure is defined as sewer, stormwater, high-speed
So
internet.
it just has to be infrastructure.
So, but, no,
Yeah, it gets pretty.
I just told you, sewer, stormwater, and they define infrastructure
Okay.
as sewer, stormwater, and high-speed internet. They don't do it as roads. So roads aren't part of it.
So those 3 items, we get busy on the projects that are out already.
So we already have, we've been waiting to do Forest Avenue pump station for several years. We
Cameras
have,
down at the Green Acres, the connecting all of our cameras.
some of that stuff would be.
There's so much we want to do, Nick, like, connecting our buildings.
So that's the point, John. So say that project you just talked about does not fit in these funds. You just said maybe we don't borrow money, but maybe we do borrow money because we get everything. Maybe we do.
I'm not against borrowing money, but we really should maximize the use of these.
I have no worries that we will spend every dollar
Okay.
of the money. I think Shelley has no worries that we will spend every dollar. We just don't want to spend it. The auditor's concern is, say we give this money to the businesses in town to do work on their businesses. Then all of a sudden, a year goes by, 2 years goes by, and Shelley's filling out the paperwork, and they say, well, you can't pay for improvements to their building. Well, that's what we're giving them money for. We want them to fix their buildings.
So we gotta make sure.
But we can't make sure. If we make sure, we're not going to do anything for years. They literally, the auditor would rather not spend the money, correct? He would rather the money sit in an account and not spend it, because they don't feel comfortable with the rules that are given to us right now. I don't care about.
They change every year?
They change. My attitude is get it done. Even if worst case scenario, what the auditor said yesterday was, say we give $100,000 out to the businesses, and the state and the federal government comes back and said you weren't allowed to do it. The borough had a very good audit. We had $1.6 million left in our checking account at the end of the year. We would just take $100,000 out of that checking account and pay ourselves back. It's not the end of the world. We're not talking about huge amounts of money. This isn't $1 million project that we're going to get hurt on.
Well, we'll still have those funds for other projects.
Will they have to reimburse us the money we're giving out?
Well, it's different. This is not, normally we have to spend the money and we get the money back. Shelley already got the money. They already gave us the money.
I'm talking about for the people's facades.
If we give people money, you ever try to get money back from something? Yeah.
How do you distinguish who gets money and who doesn't?
So the facade enhancement grant is what we're basing it on. Is when we started talking about redevelopment of the Black Horse Pike for businesses, we said we want people to fix their buildings up and be successful. So right now, we only have one application that's in front of us right now, and we haven't really gone over it yet because we're still talking about the funding and stuff like that. But the one application we have is a building that has already basically been finished and done nice, and they're just looking for any help from us to offset some of the cost. So I would argue that type of person is one type of applicant. They're already doing the work, and we're going to maybe help them out. Then we have other applicants that are not, we don't have formal applications yet, but there's people out there that maybe want us to help them. But those applicants, we can have more direction with them and say, okay, well, we look at your building and we think you need to do this. If you agree to what we think is good, then our application is based on our identification of what we think needs to be done. It's very broad.
Nick, are we asking them to match the dollars on that?
Everything is matched. Everything is matched. So,
Well, like
now we
you
can
said-
always waive that. Let me clarify that. If this council wants to change its mind, it can say, well, this is an application that we really need this fixed, and we're willing to help you. You go out and spend the money, you do the work. But before you do the work, you submit an estimate. Council approves it, they do the work, and then we reimburse them.
It's not a bad idea for some eyesores that, because this offer's been on the table for a few years.
And no one's
Yeah,
taking,
no one's
nobody's
jumped on
taking
it.
advantage of it.
yeah. I will say it's a different environment now, people feel more comfortable.
And that they know.
And everybody in this town knows that we get yelled at because the Black Horse Pike doesn't look the way it should look.
Yeah.
It's
And
coming.
so this is an opportunity to do that.
There's only two buildings that look bad. It's the old American Appliance across from the sports place and the old liquor store.
Yeah.
The rest of them look pretty good now. I think if we, code enforcement or whoever, if they get on the businesses more to actually, like, you look in front of their, I don't want to say a name, but you look in front of one restaurant down there that's gray and colored. Their yard their sidewalk is just a mess, the grass and everything. If everyone would maintain their property more, I think the Black Horse Pike would look quite a bit better.
I don't disagree.
You know?
I think that, but we've established a few months ago that code enforcement is a double-edged sword.
Yes.
Some people take it as an affront that we're attacking them and things like that. But then on the other hand, you're right. If something looks bad, what do we do? I think this is kind of a good balance. We give them a little bit of money. It's an incentive to fix the place up. So there are several businesses out there. I'll give some credit to Reimagine Runnemede has also told businesses about it, and they are now, they trust it, they think the process could be good, and they're interested. And the simple fact that the federal government gave a lot of businesses money, they have money to spend a little bit too. So there's a lot of good things going on. So we'll talk more about this small business assistance program that we're creating.
Economic assistance.
Okay, discussion of that. So the only thing is we do have to do an ordinance. I'd like everybody to review it. It's very broad strokes. It allows her to recover the money's sitting there, and then Mr. Wozok already talked to Mr. Bayshore about getting council pricing for sewer projects, stormwater project, those kinds of things.
Good,
And, hopefully we keep moving forward on that. We had the agreement for the county for salt. That's our normal agreement.
Yeah.
I think we had a meeting the other day, and one of the things we talked about was that I believe it's going to be a snowier winter. So we're going to do our best to get prepared as much as possible. So Mr. Wozok is already on top of that. And then I think we have for discussion the Eevee Resolution. Mr. Ranieri, you just want to just remind everybody what it is?
It's just a resolution that's going to help a lot of other communities. We're already doing it. We've decided that any purchases of new vehicles, trucks, buses, police vehicles, etc., get run by the Green Team. Well, I'm here at every meeting, so it's getting run by the Green Team. But a lot of communities, they're purchasing vehicles, they're not even considering hybrid vehicles, they're not considering electric vehicles. And this is an ordinance that's not only going to help us, it's going to help other communities, because before anybody can purchase a vehicle, they run it through the Green Team, Green Committee, or a similar group, and an energy group, energy awareness group. And they would recommend alternatives. If someone's going to be purchasing a bus, and the Green Team's a little more savvy, they understand what's coming down the road, who's manufacturing buses, and they're available in a year or two, they may give you that recommendation back to mayor and council. Ultimately, mayor and council make the decision, but they get to hear from the Green and Sustainable Committee, who's a little more aware, who have been to all the EV events, they know the manufacturers of vehicles coming out, talking to other towns. So I just believe and this is also a resolution that we're going to be sharing with other communities, and they're going to benefit from it more than we are, because we're already doing it. We're just putting it in writing that this is the procedure, that's how we're going to get it done. And
We're giving an example.
I believe
this isn't John for other municipalities. This is us being an example.
We're going to be an example to
Yes.
other communities, and that's really what we're trying to do. So
They would have to adopt this resolution.
I'd like to adopt this tonight if we could.
We can. But let me make it clear again. Other towns would have to adopt this resolution.
That's right.
Us adopting this resolution doesn't mean other towns are subject to it. But I agree with John saying is that we're trying to be leaders in this thing. So I think it's great. I think we've already done it, like John said. The only thing is more formal. So if someone would like to make a motion to approve this resolution.
Okay, I just want to ask a question. It says, whereas mayor and council wish to partner with the Runnemede Green Team and Clean Communities in this policy. So, in other words, if the police want to get a
Police vehicle.
police vehicle, so they're going to come to the Green Team?
We can submit in writing. We can submit in
They
writing.
say we're going to buy 2 HV. They're going to buy 2 hybrid police cars.
Okay, because our Green Team goes from 2 people to...
But like what John said, though, it still comes back to us.
Okay, so it still comes back to us.
You just get our input, our recommendations.
Okay, and of course, Clean Communities would be Harry.
All it is getting people together before decisions are made.
Okay, sounds good.
In our town, we've already led the way with this, with our vehicles.
Did everybody get one of these?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have any problem with it? With selecting vehicles?
What it is,
She's a Green Team.
if somebody loves diesel, or if somebody loves, let's just say, somebody loves, their fire department, whatever, and they just want to get this Ford 250, they love it, they've been reading about it. Well, guess what? You're not going to get it because there's hybrids available. That's what it comes down to. But that will be mayor and council's decision with the recommendation of alternative vehicles that do not leave such a large carbon footprint, which is destroying this.
So Patty, the only thing I'll say is the recommendation will come to us.
Right?
The recommendation comes to council.
Right.
We pick what it is. It's just giving us more information. You
Yeah.
agree with that?
Hey, you can go another way, but it'll be public knowledge that you didn't listen to.
So here's an example. We were one of the first towns to do hybrid police vehicles. And the only reason we even got involved in it, yeah, the only reason we got involved in it was because somebody told us about it. And that's the argument. We need to be more informed about stuff before.
And now I got a call from the chief of police of Washington Township. He wanted to come over and look at it because somebody went back
Me.
from that.
They purchased
Out in that
vehicles,
parking
and
lot,
then
that-
none of them were hybrids or
And now he's
electric
like,
vehicles.
he
They're
wants
stuck
to
with a
look
bunch
at
of
how many
gas
cars they
vehicles.
buy.
But there was a gentleman that was here from
Yeah,
Washington
he
Township.
said
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
She went right over to him, and then that following week.
So that's what this is for, so other communities can use this as a model, and use our, the way we're operating, as a model, and start to get rid of the carbon emissions
It's all good.
on a faster pace, at a faster rate.
John, Sergeant Olson told me the other day that the non-hybrid vehicle is 13 miles to the gallon, the hybrid vehicle is 25.
It's amazing. Just makes sense all the way around.
Yeah, yeah.
Financial sense as well.
Okay, so we have Resolution 21-144. We need a motion to approve.
Can I make the motion?
Of course.
I make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Neri. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Ms. Passio. Is there any other further discussion? Once again, this is just the idea is before we make a purchase, we think about it. It's really what it is. It's just being educated. Okay? I don't believe it's a roll call, so, right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
When do, yeah.
It's a policy. All right, roll call, please. Thank you. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Mrs. Passio.
Yes.
Mr. Ranieri.
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Mrs. Kelly.
Yes.
And Mr. Shapiro.
Yes.
All right. That resolution is adopted. We have one more thing to discuss before we go on to the other around. It's being walked on tonight. We rent our old public works facility. We've been doing it for many years now. The lease expires at the end of this year. So the gentleman who is renting it from us would like to renew the lease. Mr. Ranieri took the initiative, because I would answer the phone, to go talk to the gentleman. And
And he has my number.
yeah, he has my number too. So he went and talked to him about it. Just to be clear, I'm not opposed to renewing the lease. It benefits us financially. It maintains that building. It's a successful business doing well. My hesitancy has been because the borough is not typically in the business of being landlords, and we're not good at being landlords. Mr. Ranieri can attest that there were times when we were not getting paid, and guess who had to go collect the rent?
You did.
Me and Mr. Ranieri. And so he's much nicer than me, and I just like to be collecting the rent and things like that. So the only thing I'll say is as long as council is okay with the idea of continuing to rent it, right now we get $2,900 a month for it. And $2,800 a month. And basically, for that amount of money, we're really hands-off landlords. They maintain the building, they fix the building. The only thing I spoke to Mr. Long's brother today was that if we took this lease agreement and made it a little more specific, to give you an example, there's been times when the police department, the fire department had to go down to this building. If we're going to keep the rent very low, we can't be responsible for all the things that go on in a building. If the roof leaks, the tenant fixes it. If there's a pothole, the tenant fixes it. If the fire marshal comes in and says you need another smoke detector, you fix it. So the way I look at it is one of two things. We either raise the rent to market rate, and market rate on a building of 10,000 square feet might be $6,000 or $7,000 a month. But our building is not in good enough shape for $6,000 or $7,000 a month.
We'd have to drop a couple hundred.
We'd have to put money into it and things like that. So it makes more sense for us to keep the rent low and let the leasee do the repairs.
Is that in the lease?
It was, and it always has been. But the leasee has always failed to look at that and used the kindness of Mr. Ranieri against me to sometimes be, nice and do things which I don't agree, because it's very clear. Here it is right here, I'll read it to you. It is understood that Charlie's Auto takes possession of the property as is, in capital letters. Charlie's Auto shall be responsible to pay all utilities for the property, shall be required to abide by all state laws, local ordinances related to the storage and service of vehicles. Any improvement to the property must be approved in advance by the borough and shall be performed at the tenant's own expense. That line's been in this lease for 6 years.
I think gets it now, especially since you don't.
Oh, it took 6 years and me not talking to
All
him.
right, how long is the new lease?
Mr. Long had suggested just 2 years.
Okay.
And the reason is that as an elected body, we shouldn't hamstring. Let me explain why Mr. Long said that, and you can help me out, Mr. Long, is to not hamstring future councils. We make a deal and someone comes after us, it's not necessarily fair for us to do that.
Generally, they don't like you to do lease your own property out for, 100 years, and your guys' decision impacts the borough. Go for it. Yeah,
I understand that. Can you get, are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. However, this building, it is an as-is situation. And he has to, at this point, invest maybe $50,000 in the roof, just to keep it from ruining his equipment. And, more than that, paint the building, et cetera. It's a large building. So he does have to invest an awful lot of money in that building. So he asked for 5. I said, we'll probably get 3. I'd say 3 would be, I think settling to 3 is probably a reasonable thing. If he's going to drop a bunch of money in our building to continue to operate out of there,
Well, I think 3 is reasonable. 3 is
Do
reasonable.
3. It's not a hard and
It
fast.
was just the attorney's suggestion, and understand, you and I already talked about 3,
the answer's always in the middle.
but it's not always in the middle.
Let me ask you this, is there a fine when he's late?
There is, and if anyone recalls, we actually filed for eviction on a couple of occasions in the past few years. There's a late fee also that's on there. But to Mr. Schmidt's credit, he's been very good lately. I can say that the past year and a half, Shelley can attest to that. No? Last year, he's been very good. He's been conscientious.
Oh, he's gotten money.
He's
Yeah,
busy.
yeah,
He's
they
doing
all
pretty
do.
well.
I think, it's a good time,
Yeah,
potentially. So, the borough has done very well getting this money. It helps offset costs, and it goes into our fund, it goes into public works, it goes into paying for things. So $36,000 is a nice chunk of change. So if anybody doesn't know in the audience, we rent the garage for $36,000, we rent the second floor for $36,000. We are sort of landlords. The school district's our best tenant.
Yeah.
They're great. So we'll write something up and we'll try to get something done inside before the end of the year, unless there's any objections to that. Mr. Sapir, you want to be on my side?
I go with the 3-year.
Yeah, I agree. Nick, who's going to write that up?
You go with the 3-year?
The attorney.
Oh,
Well, the only thing I might suggest, since Mr.
it's 3 years, and if you see the existing, do you want this, or?
I'm sure.
Bobby said something about putting money into it.
It's going to be each year, it's going to be $100 additional.
Okay.
So 2022 will be $2,900, and then 23 will be $3,000, and then 24 will be.
Is that what you're thinking, Bobby?
John, we're giving it 3 years because he's telling us he's going to put money, 50,000, which is not. We just say.
Well, he's on a year-to-year right now. He just.
No, I think I know what Bob. Tell me what
If
you're
he doesn't put any money into it, now what?
Yeah, exactly right.
Well, what do we lose?
You're gonna have the code violation.
We're not losing anything.
Well, I think what I thought
He
Bob.
has to keep the building up to code.
Exactly.
Standard.
You can't let our building deteriorate.
That's in there from what I just said.
It is in there.
That he has to keep up the code, so it's, if the building's literally falling apart, like it sounds like it's about to.
Well, I was in there maybe 5-6 months ago, that was really leaking in that one
It's
area.
not good. He's got to fix it. Let him fix it. We're still getting our.
But I think what I thought you were going to say, Bob, is do you put it in the agreement, you have to fix the roof?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He just, no, fix it. I think fix
But we're
it.
keeping the rent down,
Fix the roof's like $100,000.
but we're keeping the rent down because you're telling us he is going to spend the money.
John, with all the cars that are there, you don't think he can?
We're not trying to get over on anybody. We
No.
also don't want anybody to get over on us.
But
So I
he can
think
spend some money on those.
he's going to spend money.
Never saw it.
I don't think we can commit to a certain amount of money.
I'm not saying 50,000, but he's got to fix that leak.
He's got, right, he's going to
But
bring it in.
that would be, that's covered in there already, it's just on us to enforce it.
So those are the two things I'm worried about.
When you start listing, you gotta fix the roof,
Nah,
and then it comes in that a window is broken. Well, you gotta fix the window.
He's
and
gotta
at one point
maintain the
back, we
building.
didn't say that in there, so, just
Maintain the
and
building.
and that's in there with the code violation.
Keep it simple.
Right, and that's why I think just, in general, keep it as it reads, it says you have to maintain the building in accordance with code, I forget exactly.
Okay.
what it is. And then if the roof's leaking, if the windows are busted up, just like you would do any other building, just enforce it. And then, that's your avenue to make sure it gets done. Then he has to pay for it.
Or he's in violation of the lease, we can pull it out. That's all.
He's in violation of lease and he's in violation of code.
That's good. I like that.
Shelley, do you have any comment about the increase every year? Or one of the things that John and I talked about was maybe just a flat rate, don't worry about it for 3 years? Or you don't think that's a big deal?
A flat rate as in.
So we don't have to worry
Instead of
that
stepping
it changes.
28, 29, and just like 3,000.
Like I said, we're not landlords. We don't always pay attention
Right.
when things change.
No, I think that if you come up with something that you think is going to cover the cost the way things are right now, I don't know that that's a great idea, considering the way things have increased exponentially, particularly this year.
What are you saying? That we shouldn't lock ourselves into a lease that's too low because rates are going up?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. All right, well, maybe we just have to wait to evaluate it a little bit more. Let's get the money first. You just
3 years is not a long time.
If you're comfortable with it, and, if you feel comfortable with that decision.
Get behind us. It's a sore subject all the way around, that property, et cetera. Let's continue to get the funds for it, not be responsible for the repair of it. Let's not shake the tree too hard. I think we should just continue on like we're doing and make everybody happy. It's very simple.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I will also say, though, that a lot of times kicking the can is one of the reasons we have problems that never get resolved. Because government is notorious for just kicking the can, so we don't take care of things that are problems. I'm just pointing that out. A lot of the fights that I've had have been me trying to resolve things that were pushed off for years. And that's the only reason I even bring that up. But once again, it's been a good year. Maybe that's why I was more leaning towards a shorter term, only because things could change.
3 is shorter than 5.
Yes, and 2 is greater than 1.
Yeah.
So,
I've never heard of a 2-year lease. Go for it.
okay. All right. Any other discussion on that? We'll keep working on it.
We'll come
Okay.
back to this, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's not a done deal because we have to write a lease. We have to have an agreement. There's a negotiation. Okay, let's go around the room then and just see if anybody wants to report anything before our council meeting. Ms. Passio, did you have anything for tonight?
Oh, yeah, okay, so let's go. November 6th, 10 to 12, at the Borough Hall, parking lot. There's a shredding event. So mark your calendars, if you have things to shred, start packing them up now. Halloween. As always, Runnemede has always celebrated Halloween trick-or-treat on Halloween Day. It will be Halloween Day, Sunday, 2 to 7 p.m. We ask that you follow the CDC guidelines, which are masks, distance, and small gatherings. So make sure your children have masks on when they go up to the door. Curfew also is starting on Friday, the week of, which is next week, which is the week of Halloween. Friday to Sunday, and that's till 9 p.m. Our next council meeting will be on Wednesday because of election day, so make sure you don't show up here. We don't want any of you to show up on Tuesday to our council meeting. It will be next Wednesday. We will be having a drive-through Christmas parade, and that will be on Sunday, November 28th. It will begin at 7 p.m. And our chief will make out the route. Thank you for the word. Thank you. We'll make the route up, and it'll be probably the same as the Easter parade, with maybe a few more tweaks in it. And other than that, and we will post everything on our website and also on our Facebook page. Other than that, I say progress. Anybody have any questions? I don't think I forgot anything.
Thank you, Patty.
Okay, that's it.
Eleanor?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I received an email from Dance Dynamics. They want to have a food drive on the 20th of November, and it's from 10 to 2, and they want permission to use the parking lot right here at the Borough Hall. There was a problem, Patty, you told me that there was a problem last year.
Well, I don't even think that they were aware of the problem, but I received a few phone calls after the fact that there were children in the middle of the Black Horse Pike with big signs directing them to the food drive. So we don't recommend that you put your children.
Did you have a date? You said 10 to 2.
The 20th. It's 11/20 from 10 to 2. And they'll be having food that will be donated to people. They have to drive in. They won't get out of their cars. The food will just be put right in their cars. It's all bagged. And they'll drive off. So, Chief, how does that work? How did it work last year? Do you remember?
I thought, did we do it at Harry Williams?
Yeah, it's at Harry Williams.
Is that, all right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They still want to do it at Harry
They
Williams.
want to still do it at Harry,
Yeah.
no problem, I'll just put an
It
officer
was
down
just a
there. to help
one-way,
with
it was a
assist.
one-way in
No problem.
and around and out.
Yep, I'll have an officer down there
Yeah.
to assist
All right,
everybody.
all right.
No problem.
Here's what I want to do with Jackie. How will I tell her to use her signs if she's going to be out on the Blacksburg Pike with these signs?
Well, they can-
Because the parking lot is off the pike.
Why can't they put lawn signs further down?
Right, exactly. Just put the lawn signs down
They
like
get
the
like
women's
four-
club does and everybody else.
If they get 3 or 4 lawn signs,
Yeah.
put them down toward Trap Rock.
Or if they're gonna have anybody back on the bike, it's gotta be adults.
No, they're giving it away.
Kids.
They're giving the food away.
Do they have it?
Albert just said the municipal building.
I meant the parking lot at the
Harry
Harry
Williams. Harry Williams.
That was a misstatement. It was the parking lot at the Harry Williams. And I believe they had it set up last year, and they had children out on the pike waving signs because the Harry Williams is not on the pike, you know, the parking lot.
Well, some people aren't too.
So they're gonna have to do something else besides that. Now, should I tell Jackie that we approve? Did she provide any kind of insurance or anything?
She's gonna have to reach out to Joyce. She's gonna have to reach out to Joyce.
Is this the Scouts?
No, this is Dance Dynamics. They have a
She
dance
did
studio.
it last year.
She did it last
I
year.
think she even told me last year too, personally.
I think that her father or husband or uncle is a parish of the church, yeah. That's where they're getting the
Yeah,
drive.
yeah.
Because they didn't ask us for support that way, they're just telling us they want to distribute it to the town.
Right.
Okay.
Or distributed to whoever.
I don't think it's a big deal. They did it last year.
Yeah.
If everybody approves, I'll tell
Yeah.
Jackie to go ahead
Yeah,
with
go
it.
ahead.
Yeah.
Just don't have no kids on that.
All right, I'll have a coin.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, the other thing is, the Women's Club just passed a resolution opposing the LNG transport. And we sent this resolution to the Army of Engineers, and also to Governor Murphy. I would hope that the resolution that we passed last year would be considered again and updated to reflect all the new information that we received since that time. So it would be a new resolution, and it would be, again, approved by, I mean, everybody knows what this is about, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
this is the fracking fuel that they're bringing from Pennsylvania. They're gonna bring it, and
Train.
David knows a lot more, but they're gonna bring it, the trains, they're gonna use
Train.
large tankers. And one of their routes is off of exit 3 through our community. And if there's ever an incident, this is highly flammable fuel. It's, I don't know how many more times flammable than oil or kerosene and all that, but much more flammable. And this fuel is going to Ireland, they're shipping it out to Ireland.
And
also-
Puerto
And
Rico.
also Puerto Rico. We don't even get the benefits of the fracking because of all of the extra ecological problems that it causes. We don't even gain any of the benefits for the risk that we're taking, having it travel through our communities, and we're trying to stop it. That's what we're talking about.
I just want to point out to you, John, that I am a member of Earth Justice. And Earth Justice is the legal arm for the Sierra Club, which I'm a member of. Earth Justice is working with Puerto Rican affiliates to close the port. Earth Justice is working with them in Puerto Rico to close that terminal that,
Does Puerto Rico not want it? Because Puerto Rico is part of the United States.
I know that, but they built it without any environmental tests. They built it without any permits.
It seems unlikely.
New Fortress Factory, New Fortress Energy went in there and did that. So Earth Justice has their affiliates in Puerto Rico, and they have filed a complaint that this port is illegal.
Well, that's good news.
Well, can I just stop you for a
That's good
second?
news.
I think the board's, we already passed the resolution before. I would look at it more, I know you're talking about the environmental side, I would argue that as stewards of our community, we should be very hesitant of anything cutting through our community. So I think that hopefully the board feels the same way as me. Our opposition is more about the fact that trucks coming off exit 3 would be, detrimental to our community. So why don't we at least say that? It's only a resolution. I don't think,
But that's the
understand what you're
overview.
saying.
And Nick, David had sent me the resolution. The Green Team has also supported this, the Women's Club, and they're asking Mayor and Council to support it again.
We did it
We've
before,
already
I think.
supported
Yeah, we
it.
did it
It's just an updated thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have it, it's in Word, can I type it?
Let's bring it up at the November meeting. I think as long as, like I said, we're talking mostly about the fact that it impacts our community, we want to make sure the residents understand that we don't want to do anything that's going to hurt us. But the bigger issue is way beyond us, Eleanor.
Yeah.
Way beyond us. So, you good with that?
I'm good.
We'll pass it. Anything else?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Bob?
Hi, thanks, Mayor. Just a few things. Concrete work on North and South Highland is completed. They're working on the East Second Avenue right now, and that's basically completed, and waiting for a tentative schedule for the week of November 1st, weather permitting, to finish the asphalt
For paving.
for Second Avenue and North to South Highland.
That's great.
I was going to talk about the enclosures, but we did. I got one of the residents asked me about the sidewalk on Easham Road down there where they took the guardrail. They have any time frame when this is going to be done? I told them it's not up to us, it's the county. So
It's the county and PSC&G.
yes.
But I think, you know what, I have that contact person. I'll shoot an email just to see what's going on with that.
You know
It's
why?
not our project,
Yeah.
but we can at least find
The
out.
same person we were talking, and he said that people are starting to walk outside of it, which pushes them further into the street. It's bumped out. And since it's not done, people have to walk in the street.
Yeah.
So the way
Just to
out.
be clear, the reason why it got delayed the way it was obviously the world changed, but there was also a drainage pipe that was broken, and I believe they fixed that. So at this point, we'll at least reach back out. I hear you. It's been a long time.
There is sidewalk on the other side of the street. right?
No, there's not. No, there's none on Gloucester Township side.
That's Little Risk property.
Okay, great. John?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Good evening, everybody.
Hi, John.
We pretty much covered everything. I'm just going to go quickly through it. We talked about our exit conference. We fared very well for the 2020 audit. That's completed and behind us. There's a few small things we have to take care of, but they weren't considered findings. We did very well. And congratulations to the Finance Department, Shelley, and everybody else. We are introducing a capital ordinance regarding the allocation of the ARP funding, the pandemic money. We talked about that. That's going to be next week, right?
Yes.
We're introducing that ordinance. I was going to ask about the small business grant. Now I understand what that is. Finance Department is going to spend most of the time focusing on closing out the current year and getting ready for 2022's budgets. That's what they're keeping busy with. And I already talked about the resolution for the Eevee vehicles. I want to thank Mayor and Council for supporting that, and looking forward to moving on to our next projects. Solar energy is where we're heading next. Harry Williams Building, I've already got a couple of phone calls out there to get some proposals, and we'll start working on that. I'm looking forward to our first solar building, the Harry Williams Building. We have the potential of generating $16,000 to $20,000 a year in solar energy. That's kind of exciting. The rest is progress.
Great, thank you, John. All good. That's a Fox News. Mr. Lavasani?
I'm going to let Mr. Wozon talk for Richie and I.
Okay.
But we had a small leak at the library.
Water leak, rain?
Water leak, rain last night. The roofer was supposed to go there and look at it today. We're not sure if he got there or not. So we'll stay on top of that. Wasn't much of a leak. Just one of the ceiling tiles is wet. You know,
Where?
It was right behind
In the
the desk.
library.
In the library. With our new roof.
I thought it
So,
was seniors.
you know, so,
Yeah, we don't know if it's from the gym roof being redone or if it's something new. So they're gonna look at it and report back what they see if they need to.
All right, but Mr. Wolzunk has a lot of stuff going on, rather than just have me give the stuff, he can go from there, and that's what we'll do tonight. I'll help Richie out.
Rich, did you want to say anything before we turn it over to him?
Before, just, fall ball was good for soccer, baseball, and softball. They'll be done this week, and
Well, baseball's done this week?
baseball's done Saturday, the soccer's still going on, the softball is done Thursday.
Soccer goes all into the end of the month, right?
The end, mid-November,
Mid-November.
something like that.
You know, some-
Late November.
There was Thanksgiving tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
But, so the senior field, they're done with that after Saturday?
No,
No.
for RY, there's a couple guest teams that come on there, I think they got 2 more weeks, and that's about it.
Let Harry know when
I'll let you know exactly.
that happens, so they can cut it once a week and save them time.
All right, Rich. Harry, you want to go right into anything you want to tell us?
We are still chasing a roof leak upstairs in the second floor, where the conference room is. So we were checking on it today, started to clean up there, and they discovered it when they were replacing the ceiling tiles. We have it isolated, so we're still going to be chasing it tomorrow. Hopefully we can resolve that, and then have the room completely done and fixed back up again from the previous weeks. It came up about prepping with the storms and so forth like that with the winter. We usually keep 150 to 200 tons of rock salt on hand. We've been going through the average the last 5 years is about 450 tons. So we actually have 150 on stock. We're getting another 100 tons delivered. Be ahead of the curve right now because we still go through it with what we do with our program. Same way with the brine, that's been working out. And we got 20 tons of solar salt coming because that's the other, we use like that for the solar salt for the brine stuff. We got hand shovels, we got snow blowers, we have that stuff on hand. It's becoming scarce out there, talking to our suppliers and so forth. We're keeping an eye and stay ahead of the trend, make sure we have the supplies that we're going to need. But we're starting to see it throughout with everything, getting different supplies and so forth. From a simple thing as sewer repairs for Firmcos, took 9 weeks to get some restocks and so forth. We're starting to see it with Napa and our own vendors for filters. It's just all over the place because the raw materials are sitting out in the boats, and that's what's holding it up. So we're watching on that. Cameras upgrade. We have all the equipment for the Howard Williams building upgrade there for the RY, and we have the equipment already installed at the Vanilla Park. Brian's just got to fine tune the program access for the police department for public works for the access to cameras. So that's all moving forward.
Harry, the cameras are
Now,
up?
is that the money
Physically
that
up?
we're gonna use for the,
Well, no, this is already allocated. Will police have access to those?
That's all that has to be set up now is the apps and the programs on the computers. But with that, we got the Vanilla Park set. We're going to start next week on the Howard Williams building in the yard block.
okay, all right.
Um,
And the police will get everything.
Yes. Storm pipe at Orchard Avenue at the end was finished up. We installed 28 feet pipe plus an end with 5 ton of river rock, not river rock, but rip wrap to stop the erosion and so forth. It's been marked.
All right, is this a repair or an addition?
This was a repair. Leaf collection is posted on the website and Facebook.
Yep.
So anybody needs to know when we're coming around for leafing, please see that. We do have all 3 leafers up and running, ready to go for the season. It's been out yesterday and today. So we started, and with that, we're using it to clean the storm bricks. So trying to stay ahead of the rain. Christmas decorations, setting up for Harry Williams voting, and for the pipe, we did receive a couple of the orders in so forth for the extra stuff that we're doing this year. We are waiting for deliveries, which should be in the next week or 2. And then, of course, the week prior to Thanksgiving, we'll start setting up all the Christmas decorations. So we're ahead of the curve on that. Just also to report, we have 2 heaters down, one at the library and one in the police department, working on funding right now. Purchase orders should be from the quotes that we received. We should be having that all finalized and setting that repair
So there's no
Next
heat in the
Saturday.
library?
Correct. Cans came in that were special ordered for the Hirsch Lake Park pathways. They'll get out in the next 2 days. One on Orchard and one on Shepherd Avenue. So they'll be put out.
What's
Trash
happening?
cans.
Trash cans that we talked about previously.
Yeah.
They're bear proof, right? Is that-
Yeah, they're bear proof.
Good, so I saw there.
Trees, we took down, we had a contractor take one down at Orchard, or actually, Hirsch off of Smith Lane, it was a very large oak tree that would have taken out the Verizon system, blocked that area if it ever went down. We did have some issues with it cracking, and it was only being held up by probably 6 inches of good growth out of the 36-inch base tree.
Where was that at? Smith and what?
Orchard, or Hirsch Avenue,
Hirsch.
right, the easement that we have the drainage going past at the bottom of the church. So we got that one taken care of. The one at the point was taken care of on the borough property there. Deluxe field, we call it Al's Field behind Deluxe Bakery. We took down 6 trees back there that were dead, and we took down the tree at the tennis courts. There's still cleanup to go at those facilities, but the trees were dropped yesterday, and with the rain today, we were going to cut. So we'll get it out there tomorrow and following day. Seeding, fertilizing, line, and we're top dressing all the fields. All the fertilizing, seeding, and aeration has been done on the fields. Next week, we're actually going to start top dressing the soccer fields and the baseball fields. So we have compostable on the fields to help with that.
Harry, about all this trees you're taking down, what's gonna happen to the chipping?
The chipping right now, we will probably use down at Green Acres.
At
Or
the Vanilla
pathways
Park,
and stuff.
and you know where I'm complaining about? Because I walked that trail by the river,
Okay?
and it's very muddy. And a lot of the chips should be put there so I'm not walking in mud.
So you are not walking,
She'll say.
or the residents?
Well, I don't care about the residents.
Get her some boots. Can we get her some boots? Boots be cheaper?
Oh, it's $15.
Boots might be cheaper.
Go to Always get some rubber boots.
So, if you could put some chips along that pathway, that would be great.
What size, Eleanor?
The one on the river.
No, she's talking about your boots. We're gonna
Your
get you.
boots.
Oh, I have boots.
We'll get you some waiters.
Hey, Harry, that, by the way, the trail she's talking about is, I love it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got the new rails going back there, and I walk it every day.
It's
Beautiful.
still work in progress. We
Nice.
still got maintenance to do with wintertime coming, since we get caught up with all the, we got busy coming up with the holiday seasons, but then we'll be able to spend some more
Yeah,
time
stop
down there
from
as we did
decorating
last
the
year.
town.
A lot of people enjoy the walk near the water, it's very nice.
Oh, Patty, did you ask him if he's
Wait,
gonna
no.
decorate?
Not done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So with that, I thank you for the appointments being considered for next week for the full-time and the part-time. We do appreciate, the guys still appreciate that. And we are just trying to stay afloat and do everything else. So if you have another question, Mr. Kelly?
Oh,
Yeah.
Patty is gonna have Santa.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it to you, but I thought I would talk to you tomorrow, but
Okay.
since she mentioned it.
No,
They always do the gazebo, nice, so I just wanted a little extra special, because we have to think of something, how we're gonna put Santa in there. Because every Friday night, in the month of December, we're gonna have Santa sitting there for 2 hours waving and
So
hopefully.
we're removing the Santa that we do put in.
So,
Where does
yeah,
the snow?
probably.
Does Santa, you're doing
Yeah,
Santa's
well-
right behind you.
Can we put him on the side, and then,
We'll discuss it.
yeah, we'll discuss all that. Yes.
and good
No,
lighting, Patty,
Santa's
good
coming
lighting.
from, Santa's coming from the North
Oh,
Pole.
that's right, that's right.
And we have to have good lighting.
Very good lighting, yes.
Harry,
I think we'll have it.
can you add the heater in the lobby of the municipal buildings, your list of broken heaters?
Which heater? The
The
one
one
in
Little
the
electric
lobby?
the one in the wall.
Little left.
Really?
That just should be turned.
Maybe it just has to be.
It
the
didn't work
thermostat
at
on.
the end of last winter, and I assume it's not working now.
Electric,
I think it was just turned off because it got.
might be turned on.
So,
I'll look at it, I'll look at it.
There we go, thank you.
The,
I got it, don't worry about it.
We have a lot.
Anything else, Harry?
No, we'll take care of it.
That's it.
Well, you got it?
But, when do you think the library heat's gonna be fixed?
We just, trying to get the contractor, so the purchase order should be written out tomorrow. I do believe that was finalized yesterday with Chris.
Is it being replaced, Harry?
No, it's being repaired at the library, the police department was replaced.
Oh,
So Shelley, we're moving right along on that?
As far as I know, I
Yeah.
think Chris and I decided.
Okay.
Just so you know, if you feel as though you're getting too much, like, if you can't get a part, you know, of course I do this, you know, you can always have me look at something if you need to. If it's a situation where you're out, I can help you out there.
These are plenums, both plenums are shot, so they needed, and then we had quotes for replacing fully, then we had replacement costs just to repair. We weighed out the whole cost of everything on it, and plus we got a new service contract to deal with.
Yeah.
So-
Well, we're okay now, but if it gets too cold, they're gonna heat.
Oh, it's being worked on.
Yeah.
I don't want to do so much.
I was in the library today, and I didn't notice that there wasn't anything. We'll be good for a while, so.
I mean, if you want, the Borough employees have a lot of portable heaters that they all have in their offices. So we can grab all of them and bring them down there. That was a shot.
That was thinly veiled shot.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Masor, you want to go through your report?
Sure, thank you. I submitted my report in writing, gave everybody the email. I handed out copies, but I don't know if it made it all the way down the line. Bob already talked about the current road project. We're hoping to have that paved next week, but with the weather, it might be delayed another week, but we're getting close on that.
Can I stop you right there? Because I was going to ask, was there any change orders? Because I know you said he's finishing up with the concrete. There was a few items that Harry wanted to get done, that I wanted to get done, that we talked about on, Mrs. Kelly wanted to get done, the curbing. Where are we with the change orders?
The contractor,
Said no?
yes, basically, he could not do it for the contract prices because it's piecemeal, spread out around the town, so he can't hold his unit costs.
What about the subcontractor he used? Were we able to talk to him?
Well, we would have to, again, it's holding unit costs.
It's holding unit costs. Are we allowed to let
We
him
could-
charge us more?
Yes, we can. And I asked him to give me a price for doing that.
Okay. I mean, I don't like that, but if he's saying it's he wants like a mobilization kind of cost,
Well, it's.
because they're small
He's
pieces
on pieces here, pieces there.
and jumping around is
Jumping
difficult.
around from town to town. I told him that if the sidewalk work on Clemens Bridge Road, you would provide police at no cost, because they would need traffic control for those sidewalks along that area. And I'm just waiting for him to get a price back from me on that. But as of right now, we don't have anything.
What about that curbing on Hirsch?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I would say if we had our list, we would say the curbing first, and then everything else you can kind of back
I told
in,
him,
back out.
if he doesn't want to do it all, the top priorities were the curb on Hirsch and the missing sidewalk by American Defense and the other places.
All right,
Those were the two.
I'm happy with that.
But I'm waiting on prices for that, but right now, there's no official change order yet going on with that.
Okay, that was the only question I had.
I have a question on Shepherd Avenue and Highland there, on the corner in Highland. Instead of putting a regular handicap ramp, we put these two little,
We had to put wings because there was a gas valve there, and just the way we had to do the handicap ramp, we had to do those
Oh, there was a gas line there?
on the one corner, and we mimicked it on the other side, because there's a gas line right there.
Did they replace the gas lines down that street, do you know?
Yes.
They did replace the
not
gas
all the
lines.
way down Shepherd, maybe from,
And you did send me a picture of somebody was concerned with ponding there, but we gotta wait till the road's paved. But right now, the handicap ramp's lower than the road.
Because you gotta know what's
We're
still.
cutting a swale through there, so
Okay.
that should resolve that. The other thing is the 2020 road program. We submitted a payment voucher to close out that job with DOT for $60,000. So as soon as Shelley gets that money, I'll take it off my report. Same way with the 2019 road program, we put a final payment voucher in for $93,750. So you should be getting that money soon, and again, once Shelley gets that, I'll take it out of the report. The only other thing that's not in the report is South Jersey Gas is trying to get an easement along the bike path to install gas main from Clemens Bridge Road out to Smith Lane. So we have multiple issues going on. One is, would you allow that, and would you want to get money for the easement? Harry mentioned putting possible decorative lights in as a negotiating. They won't do that, but they would be willing to pay money for it. So we could look at what you would want to get money-wise for the easement, so you can put your own lights in.
I mean,
However, there's a more difficult issue in that, before I was here, back in 2003 or so, DOT put drain lines in from 7th Avenue to the bike path, down the bike path to Smith Lane, and they have a 20-foot easement. I haven't seen the language on that easement. I don't even know if the easement technically exists, but there was an easement supposedly granted for that pipe work. I don't know if we could have a PSE&G easement in the same place we have a DOT drainage easement.
How do we find out which easement is, the DOT easement is there?
I was going to talk. And this is the thing, and I think Jack Kennedy might have been your solicitor then too, so I don't know.
We would still have it in our system, it's there, but.
And this was back, and this was going on in 2003-ish. So I don't know if we.
Well, couldn't they move the gas line on the other side of the bike path?
Well, we gotta figure out where the easement is, but we're also, the easement comes from 7 to the bike path, so they have to go through that easement, no matter where they go. So there's still the issue of the DOT easement. And then the third issue is, Harry says that drain pipe, there's an issue with the manhole. So we gotta find out if DOT is responsible for that drain line and get them to repair the manhole. So I got 3 things going on with this possible easement. So.
Well, the only thing I would say is it's better to go down the bike path than it is to go down the Black Horse Pike. Correct?
The other option would be Bowers Lane.
Or Bowers, go down Bowers and tearing all that up. And I don't, unless that's better, I don't know if it's better to go down Bowers, but then you're tearing up Bowers.
So.
What they're trying to do, I mean, if we can do it all legally and everything, get it done, the bike path is definitely the best way to go,
I
just to make
agree.
sure we're covered with it.
And easements typically have value, right? There's a value to an easement.
Yeah.
We bought an easement from New Jersey American Water. So that utility charged us, I think, she basically said that she would pay us for an easement.
You talking the Black Horse Pike side of the bike path,
Yeah, they got it going right down the center.
right down the center?
And then, look, in the email I got today.
She said there's a revised drawing.
There's a revised drawing. So I gotta get everything, this is all just sort of coming together, but I just wanna know if this is something.
I mean, does anyone have any opposition to natural gas going down the bike path?
No.
I mean, the idea is they want to put a larger line in because they're getting rid of all those metal.
Has Bowers been paved?
Bowers was paved many years ago. It's not bad on that one side where the curve is. It's bad by the baseball fields.
If it was bad where they need to cut, well, then that would.
They would replace it. And I think that was in your email too. Anything that they disturb, they'd have to repave. But I think they're trying to stay on grassy areas, which is good for everybody.
The best thing might be coming down the bike path, and then if we had to, shift over to Bowers to get away from the DOT easement.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking might be.
And they'd have to repave Bowers.
We gotta look at what the easement language is, if we can find it, and.
Or check the DOT, they might have it.
Yeah,
I mean, no one's got it then. I mean,
So there's some things we wanna look into, but I wanna see first, is that something you guys wanna consider?
Is there any opposition to
How
that?
to come up with a value.
What do you think, John?
I think, I say bike paths are good option. No, we have to allow them to get the lines where they need to go. We have to.
Well, they won't pay for anything, but they'll give us money. So say they give us, the last easement we just purchased, I think cost us 40 grand. So we could easily say that's worth at least, there's a way to figure out what it's worth. To say it's worth $40,000 or $50,000.
How much should we pay for a square foot for the easement we pay 40,000 for, and then how many square footage they look
Yeah,
for?
that's, right, we
That's
have
a
to figure
go
that out.
But also, just so you're aware, and everybody's aware, Bowers Avenue, not only do you have the Runnemede sanitation sewer, you have C-70A, force mains.
Force main.
There's a lot going on in this area.
That's a really.
But their line is really small though, right? Isn't it 2 or 3 inch gas line, or what are they putting in?
8-inch.
8 inch?
They're trying to get, I believe they're trying to get service to the asphalt plant.
I think that's the date of the plan.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
Service to the asphalt plant.
Yes.
What?
Trap line.
Trap
So they can use natural gas.
Instead of burning something or whatever. Natural gas is better than most things.
So this is all because of the asphalt company?
I don't know if
Not
it's,
necessarily just.
it's not, it's.
They're tying everything in as they're going along, so I think it's to provide
It's
everything.
it's upgrading.
But they're doing the neighborhood too,
It's
right? We
upgrading
saw them doing the
services.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're also trying to get a line to the asphalt plant.
It could probably. go-
But they're upgrading the neighborhood also, that's what, it's a combination.
It could continue on, go Benigno Boulevard too, that would probably be, that would be too.
But does that bring the thing, while we're looking at it also for legal, for the property behind the ball field that's not finalized yet?
It's close enough.
But to make sure-
For 14 years, we've been foreclosing on the land behind the, it's a defunct corporation.
Yeah, they're going straight down. So I mean.
On our maps, it shows we own it. I mean, that's what I look at.
Right,
Just draw it on a
but
map.
that
it's
easement
ours.
would go all the way to,
Yeah, go all the way down there. I mean, I'd love to fix Powers down by the baseball fields if that was possible. Because there's a drainage issue
I'll
there.
continue
It's been for
to
years.
work with them and Harry and keep you all apprised of what's going
I
on.
mean, maybe we, there was, you know, they do road construction, maybe we get them to pave that portion of Bowers and put a storm, would they put a stormwater inlet in? Would they do, they won't do that much? They would pave, and they, that's about it, they would pave.
You go back to.
But
Well,
would that
it's based-
solve
It's based on
anything
your
then?
ordinance, and your ordinance says.
Well, we've always had water problems,
I know,
we have
I know.
stormwater problems from Bowers going all the way down to Oakland.
Yeah.
If we could capture some of the water up there.
They have to do what your ordinance says for road restoration. If
Okay, they're doing the street
If
opening.
they're doing a longitudinal pipe, your ordinance says they have to do curb milling and paving. And I said that that would apply to a trail as well, because you don't want patchwork on your trail.
And then she said they're not going with the trail.
Well, yeah, and that's what we'll wait. So I just want to make sure everybody's in agreement that we want to even pursue this.
I think it's okay to pursue.
And I'll start looking into it, work with Harry.
We need
Like
natural
that,
gas.
you know, if you
Okay.
could work all the details out.
All right, that's all I
Just
have.
breathe heavy, then we wouldn't need it.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you.
Well, the scout building, where are we on the scout building?
That is not the, that's Public Works.
Well, it's in here.
They did the drawings.
I said we would help as needed or something like that.
Where are we on that? What's going on with
just so you're aware, the shingle color was given to the contractor. He has the shingles actually reserved for us, and it should be scheduled, so hopefully next week or the following week, he's going to be doing the roof.
Nobody consulted me on the color.
I think it was your color you picked. I did have one question. How you doing with the survey for the DPW, our CCO working project? Work.
The survey's done.
Sound like me.
Survey, the field survey is done, the drafting is done. We're just pulling together, we're working with the consultant to get the actual application in the DEP. We have to do a letter of interpretation of what the buffer zone is.
So this is a true wetlands
Yes.
delineation, is that what you
Yes.
guys are doing?
Yes.
All right. Okay, thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Mr. Long, did you want to report anything tonight?
No, thank you for letting me fill in. Dan says it's best, and I was told to say progress.
Okay, thank you.
Does everyone know about Dan's baby?
Well done.
I believe your brother sent pictures, is it had a
My
baby?
brother had a baby girl
Oh,
on
no.
Saturday.
Alright, so,
Her name's Zoe.
Zoe,
Everything's going well so far.
Good.
So he's changing diapers probably right now.
That's wonderful.
Oh, yeah, that is wonderful.
Okay, Shelley, did you want to add anything to all this?
And then we talked about transfer of funds. John's going to talk about transfer of funds.
we never talked about it.
We don't have anything definitive until probably
Sure.
next week or the
Guys,
next week.
Oh, how cute.
Shelley, you will be getting fitted for the
How
Santa Claus
cute.
costume, that's what you're going to help
Do
out.
it, absolutely.
Beautiful baby.
Might
Oh,
be a
that's
little
beautiful.
smaller than
It's okay.
usual Santa Claus, but-
Baby Zoe.
Mr. Zampolsky, did you want to add anything?
One more
Oh,
thing,
sorry.
because your meeting next week is on Wednesday.
Yes.
So is Magnolia's, so since I won't be here, unfortunately. In addition to the ARP ordinance, there will also be a chapter 159 for a portion of that funding. I just don't want you to see both and wonder why, because it can't all be allocated.
So you're going to do transfers, chapter 159, and the ordinance, 3 different things next week?
If the transfers are ready by then.
Hey, can I add something? Next Wednesday, we were considering having a little quick finance meeting. Eleanor, you, me, and Shelley can make it from 5 to 6. Is that right, on Wednesday? What are we talking about, Shelley?
That would probably be best.
Is that, can you make that?
It's possible, I may, I wasn't going to say this because I'm not sure, I may not actually make it here next Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
I have a business obligation, so I may not be here.
I'll set another date. Forget that date.
All right, really? All right.
Ladies
20
and gentlemen,
minutes, Patty.
ladies gave all the reports tonight. Make sure,
I may.
today.
There's also going to be a we got some engineer here.
Really? I might have to go to Lower
Tell them
Safford
5
Township.
minutes.
Anybody knows where that is? Lower Safford. Lower Safford is in, like Harleysville, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
So I gotta go make money. This job isn't big.
Get out of here, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I got a couple quick things. Mrs. Kelly, I was on the phone today with a conference call Ryan from local IT, Sergeant Wallen and myself with WatchGuard. All the stuff's in my office. Now the next, we went on, a Zoom meeting. I'm waiting for an email of when they're gonna send their people out to train us, and we're ready to go. So we're getting there, I just want to give everybody a month heads up. We'll be saying our final goodbyes to Chief Daly on December 7th at the council meeting. Be prepared for a long one, get a good night's sleep before that. There'll be a big dog and pony show with speeches and everything else, so I want everybody prepared for that.
There's a flyover, correct?
Huh?
A flyover?
Who knows what he's going to do? I set up the council.
We have to go outside.
Tomorrow, I was invited to Triton to read to our elementary kids Halloween books. I'll be there from 5 to 8 as a guest reader.
Nice.
And something that I would hope that I can see the mayor and council show up for. On Thursday night at 5:45, Captain Murray will be honored as a hometown hero at the senior night soccer game. So I'll be there in my dress outfit. Sergeant Burns and our officers will be there in heavy support of Captain Murray.
Thursday, and what time?
At probably 5:45.
This Thursday?
Yes.
What?
And I'm at the Triton.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll give more details. I think it's 5:45. They do it, they read his bio. And everybody
Send an email out.
Yeah, I'll send an email.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
And that's it. Everything else
This
is ready.
Thursday?
Yep.
Chief, I did give you something about the vaping situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to a few people I have about that.
Okay.
That handle that.
Thank you.
I got your email today. I got a couple of people I got calls out to.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
I did have one thing I made a note, best practices. Do we have an obligation? Is that coming up soon? What's our date?
That is due November 5th.
So we're gonna try to squeeze that on this third meeting? Okay, so best practice, really just a summary is all we need.
That's next.
This Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it on my calendar.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Hometown Heroes Thursday.
Thank you.
I will send you an email, the exact time. That is very quick, it's short and sweet, before the game even starts, not a halftime thing. Get in there, you can read his bio.
So 5:45 be there?
Yeah, but if there's anything different, I'll lock in a definite time.
All right, if there's nothing else, we'll just go into the rest of the business. Payment of bills, would someone like to make a motion to pay the monthly bills?
I'll make that a motion.
Motion by Mr. Lobenstein, second by Ms. Facio. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Passio,
Yes,
Mr. Ranieri,
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein,
Yes.
Mr. Farrell,
Yes.
Mrs. Kelly,
Yes.
and Mr. Shapiro.
Yes.
All right, bills shall be paid. Good and welfare, this portion of the meeting is open to the public. Anyone wishing to speak, please come to the microphone, state your name and address. Pat, come on up.
Good evening, Al Palmisano, 831 North Oakland Avenue. Quick question, Patty, the shredding is on November the 6th from 10 till
12.
12, and the municipal building,
Borough Hall, yeah, right here, in the parking lot.
Eleanor, for the drive-through food drive, are they picking up or dropping off?
For what that?
They're picking up. They're giving food.
They're giving food away.
Okay, that's good, and it's here.
No,
No.
Is that how it works?
Harry
on the
Williams.
Harry Williams, the whole parking lot.
It's gonna be a drive-through. You come up, we'll load some stuff in your trunk, and then you move on, right? Something like that.
Yes.
That's what the church did last time.
Harry Williams.
Okay, and that's a Sunday? No?
Saturday.
20th.
Saturday.
It's a Saturday, and it's from 10 to 2.
That's not the third Saturday, is it?
11:20.
I don't
You
know.
know, the seniors are meeting again?
Yes.
Is it the third Saturday?
No, I'm looking. I know the seniors aren't
It
in
is
the
a
drive.
Thursday.
Have you been to the building? Did you see how nice the?
Oh,
Yes,
it's
I
beautiful.
was there.
Great.
Very.
Is that the third
Yeah.
Saturday?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's noon until like 2 o'clock.
What time was the,
It's 10 to 2.
It should be done. No, you guys, they always get there early, don't they?
Yeah, when they get
Yeah.
there.
They get there early.
Let's see if Jack is moving to.
They move it 1 week back,
On-
or is that, no, they want to do it before, well, they want to do it before Thanksgiving,
So
that's
what
why.
do you
they're
wanna
doing it.
Why would?
Mary said do it on the Wawa side.
It's not a bad idea,
Do it on Constitution, and then people will see them.
then they'll see it better if they're on Constitution. It's
We can
good.
make anything work, it's not a problem.
Yeah, do it on Constitution.
All right.
You sure there's not a game?
When she calls you,
Well, baseball-
let her know
I will.
about the
Baseball will be
seniors.
done by.
Yep.
And
Is
then,
there's extra?
make sure she's
Yeah,
on
that'll
that.
be
Yeah,
done.
I'll take care of it.
All right.
I'll make sure there's no games on that day.
We'll work it out.
Okay, just so you know.
Is that promoted, Oliver?
It's a
They
project.
themselves do
Yeah.
it, they themselves do it. They're just asking for a grant.
Yeah.
And the other thing, my grandson parked his Silverado truck and came in and then we spent the night. Next morning, he got up, went out. Somebody, now, dumb, he leaves his door unlocked. Cash was missing and some of his cat was missing. So my daughter called. She called the number listed for the police, not 911, and she told them what happened. They said, fine, someone will be back in touch. We didn't hear the next day, so she called again. Same number, same story. Someone will be back in touch. We're still waiting a month later, just so you know.
What number you on?
Yeah, yeah.
She looked it up online,
Well, that's a number to the police station.
and she did talk to someone.
Anytime that they want someone, they report 911.
Well, she
No,
didn't
no.
think it was that important, you know.
It was crime committed. so
Yes,
yeah,
I tell
911.
everybody, 911, nothing is to, 911, that's what it's there for, we're there for you guys. 911 is fine, it's not a problem, we're there. What is our name?
Oh, Christina Karwacki, K-A-R. W-A-C-K-I.
Christina?
Uh-huh.
All right.
And the address again was?
831 North Oakland.
I'll have this addressed as soon as I walk out of here.
Oh, no problem. By the way, did you ever find out about a bike? Whether anyone's fixing up for Christmas? Yeah, one time someone was collecting bikes that needed some work and giving them out as Christmas gifts.
I can talk to Sergeant Woolen if you'd like.
Yes,
Yeah, we're gonna be doing stuff at the holidays for the police association.
okay.
We'll be delivering stuff to.
Well, you guys did that the previous year, where you
Oh, yeah,
fixed
we'll be
the
doing it
bikes.
again.
Yeah.
That's why the beers are on
I
it.
remember that.
Yeah, so
That was
I
nice.
have one and I want to move it along.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Val.
Thanks,
Val.
Val.
Thanks, Val. Thanks for remembering about the seniors.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no one else, is there a motion to close the public
I'll
portion?
make a motion to close the public portion.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Lobenstein, second by Ms. Passio, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn
I'll
this
second that.
meeting.
Motion adjourned by Ms. Passio, second by Mr. Lobenstein. All in favor?
Aye.
We adjourn at 7:24.
All right.